This will be our greatest era. With God's help, over the next 4 years, we are going to lead this nation even higher, and we are going to forge the freest, most advanced, most dynamic, and most dominant civilization ever to exist on the face of this earth. We are going to create the highest quality of life, build the safest and wealthiest and healthiest and most vital communities anywhere in the world. We are going to conquer the vast frontiers of science, and we are going to lead humanity into space and plant the American flag on the planet Mars and even far beyond. And through it all, we are going to rediscover the unstoppable power of the American spirit. And we are going to renew unlimited promise of the American dream. Every single day, we will stand up and we will fight, fight, fight for the country our citizens believe in and for the country our people deserve.
Fight, fight, fight. Good morning. Rise and freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Thanks to have you here. Thanks for coming. Sign of Jonah, Bruce Burtwhistle, BB for Liberty, Kim McCurry, Drew Van Runkle, Andy Opperman, Floby Tenderson, L Dubs. Man, you're like me. You just never sleep. Ashley Ann says, Happy Ash Wednesday, heathens. Happy Ash Wednesday, Ashley. 5 things you need to know today. New. I want to eat apples and bananas. Hot, fresh, and ready to roll. Last night, Trump unleashed a record-smashing 1 hour, 40-minute speech to Congress, the longest ever. He's pushing his renewal of the American dream, defending tariffs and hyping his new Department of Government Efficiency, D.O.G.E, led by Elon Musk. Give it up for Elon. Dems flipped out. Rep Al Green. No, not that Al Green. There's a good Al Green. There's bad Al Green. This is bad Al Green. Got hauled out yelling, Trump's got no mandate. And the Democrats, looking deflated, flashed their no king signs. Inflation? Didn't talk about that last night, but egg prices up 53% thanks to the bird flu snuck in. Yeah, it's your tax dollars. We're paying for it. Are you on board? Hey, you know what? Personally, yeah. It's not perfect, but it never will be. The only candidate I can ever say, the last time that I agreed with a president or a presidential candidate this much was the guy who got runner-up to Gary Johnson in 2016. That guy I agreed with 100%. 100%. That's the only time I've ever agreed with a candidate 100%. Well, there was this Republican Senate candidate in 2018 here in Missouri. You probably never heard of him. Wasn't even runner-up. 3rd place, way back in the back. And there are no trophies for 2nd place, 3rd place when you run for office. But I have to say, that young man in 2018, I agreed with him 100%. But I don't have to agree with Trump 100%. I can just say I call balls and strikes, and I got to say, 60% I agree, 40% I disagree. Much higher than my usual. Obama was like 5 to 10%. I think Obama did one thing, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, that's not bad. But most of the time I find myself just shaking my head in my hands. But Elon Musk must have gotten a message. He must have gotten a note or gotten the message with the Trump-Zelensky meeting because he showed up last night in a tie. So good for you. You better show up to the White House wearing a suit, man. So glad to have our friends Drew Van Runkle, Mr. Embry001 here, as well as John and KC. Larry Legend 420 says, Hash Wednesday. Very funny. See you, Deo. Deo. Actually, you're right. I don't agree with all of the policies of that guy from 2016. I do have some important disagreements with him, as well as the 2018 Senate candidate that I was talking about. I maybe agree with him now, maybe 90%. Quest Fanning dropped a buck in the tiller. Rolled it up. Says, reminder, it's Crispus Attucks Day. 255 years since the Boston Massacre and our first patriots killed. Well, gruesome, but a tragedy for certain, but one that led to the birth of our country. Number 2 thing on the list of 5 things you need to know today. Unique New York. 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 Ukraine and Russia ready to talk. Trump says, I did that. Big news. Trump bragged last week. 6 weeks in, and he's got Ukraine's Zelensky and Russia's Putin nodding at peace talks. Dzień dobry. Suka, bliat. A letter from Zelensky says, Ukraine's in. Putin's ready. Could this end Europe's nastiest war since World War II? Less cash overseas, more in your pocket. I know you like it. Sweet music for us fiscal hawks. Critics say, hold the applause. Trump's calling it a deal maker's win. Reuters is reporting this morning. Good morning. Hey, Robbie. Your financial generosity is much appreciated. Now that people are here with us in the morning and joining us live on the Wake Up America show and dropping Rumble Rants, that means my daughter might be able to eat tonight. Did you guys enjoy the show last night? Freedom Arcade? Hey. If you didn't see it last night, it is our Rumble Premium members-only content. It's the paywalled content. It's special content we're creating. Stephanie and I, it's a new show. It's called Freedom Arcade. Last night was freaking fun, and it was funny. Stephanie has never done PC gaming. I know this sounds weird, but she always wanted to be a gamer, she said, and now she's a gaming streamer because we have our own show. I expected 1 to 5 people to show up. We ended up having 50. It was fun. I did not expect that. In order to watch that content, you can even see last night's show and see how it goes if you are a Rumble Premium subscriber. So make sure you go back and check that out. We had a lot of fun last night, and we did put on the president's speech for a little while. But as while there were some hot moments and some interesting parts of it, for the most part, we were all just we had it on a little bit, but we were mostly kind of burned out on politics. We were just kind of hanging out and playing games, and that's what Tuesday nights are about. Freedom Arcade. We have freedom. We played the game BioShock. Stephanie actually did pretty good for a first-timer on PC gaming. And then we also played Jackbox Party Games, which is where everybody who's watching can participate. It's like we're all having a virtual party. And everybody, all you have to do is if you're at home, you can pull out your phone, play the game with us, and enjoy hanging out on a Tuesday night. Some people brought their kids. It was fun. We laughed. We cried. Stephanie and I flirted endlessly, as we do. BB says that when they got in for the game of Jackbox, says the audience, it was a good night. Yes, even the audience can participate, which is fun. Floby Tenderson says, not air today, gone tomorrow. No, but that is coming. I will be playing my favorite retro games in the chat, the ones that I grew up with back. I used to play the typing adventures. I used to log into bulletin boards, how old I am. I used to log into bulletin board systems where you would call it was like calling a website with a phone. So you would set your modem up to your actual phone line. Some people do remember the or the weird AOL online. Does everybody remember that? You've got mail, you know? But before AOL, before they were all drowning us in those CDs that came everywhere to give us the 50 free hours of America Online, and then you charge your parents' credit card, and then you ended up going to an adult website, and you're kind of like, you know. But in order to get onto the internet, also, where did that come from? In order to get on the internet, before the internet, you had to dial a bulletin board system. They called them BBSs. And BBSs were run by independent individuals who just decided to set up their computers where anybody could. They would have games on there, and I would log in and play games with other people. And it would be like a game. It would be like you take a turn for the day, and then you log in the next day, and then you see what everybody did, and you adjust accordingly. And sometimes you play against a computer, but it was kind of fun. And of course, you could get like pictures of Cindy Crawford and stuff like that, if you know what I'm saying. Because, and that's, again, I'm telling you how old I am, because, man, when bulletin board systems were a thing, Cindy Crawford was a thing. Good morning, it's the Wake Up America show. We're talking about 5 things you need to know today. And I've got Remzo Martinez at 8 a.m. Central Time today. 9600 baud modem, says Quest Fanning. I had my first modem was a 2400 baud modem. That is old. I'm old. Number 3, egg prices scramble your wallet thanks to the avian flu. Boo. I blame RFK Jr. I'm just kidding. Don't get mad at me. The RFK Jr. people are rabid. They will get you. Speaking of eggs, Trump name dropped the eggs last night. No wonder. Grocery prices are up just 2% year over year, but eggs, 53% spike. Avian flu torched millions of chickens. Unique New York. Your breakfast's getting pricey. And just when I start to now I'm really focused on eating eggs. I've been eating an egg bowl every day with just a little egg and rice, a little sesame seeds, some sesame oil, a little soy sauce. You get that rice and you put those 2 eggs on there and they get a little runny. It gets all mixed up there in the ice. So good. I'm hungry. When I'm feeling fat, though, you get a bacon, egg, and cheese, everything bagel toasted, made by my lovely Steffi. They're delicious. 56K baud modems. Yeah, John, I felt like I was really going blazing fast when I had a 56K modem. Now we have a billion K, whatever it is, a trillion K in our wallets right now. We've got our cell phones again. I remember reading how technology advanced so fast that the technology that was inside one Nintendo Entertainment System, the 8-bit console, the original Nintendo, was more advanced and sophisticated than the technology that was used to get man to the moon and back. So crazy little infotainment here for you. Number 4, protests exploded in all 50 states. The Democrats are trying to organize. Trump's got them all riled up. While Trump talk, the streets lit up. Protests in every single state from Boston to D.C. They're waving upside down flags, acting a fool, raging over tariffs. Legit, understand. But mostly they're mad at Elon Musk's D.O.G.E cuts. And I say, if they can't take a joke, well, I say let them crash. So think 2017 women's marches, right? But angrier. Now, for you freedom lovers, right, it's a sign that the left is digging in, right? They're starting to do what they can to gum up the gears and start putting in the gridlock, because the way that a fight works is that the person who attacks, the person who launches an attack, always has an initiative, and the initiative begins at the beginning when the person who launches the attack comes in. And Trump launched a freaking blitzkrieg. It was like Panzer Fausts, Panzer Mark IIIs, Panzer Mark IVs. The Tiger tank hasn't been invented yet, but this is a bad analogy because it makes Trump Hitler and the Germans, and this is a very limited metaphor. But it was blitzkrieg. Minus the Pervitin. But Trump had the initiative. I say had because at this point now, everything else is going to be how the Democrats react. And so far, the Democrats are not taking it well, but they are getting organized. Do not underestimate the American voter and how fickle the whims of the American public can be and how quickly public tide can turn against us. Remember that we still have not passed a law for the cuts that we've made with Elon Musk's D.O.G.E, We need to pass laws to cut spending, cut taxes, and cut regulations. The executive orders are nice, but we need laws. We are a nation of laws, not of men. And Elon Musk stole the show. The fifth thing that you need to know, Elon Musk, Trump's Doge guru, got a big shot out last night wearing a suit. Democrats were waving Musk steals signs, please. But Elon rocked the gallery like a rock star last night. Rumors swirling he's eyeing the Postal Service for a Tesla takeover. Unconfirmed, but hilarious, right? Who wants Elon Musk to buy the post office? He can't make it any worse. I mean, X is not a perfect platform. I mean, he also didn't build it, but it's like, he took it over it's like Joe Biden is screwing everything up. And then, what's his name? Trump takes over and, they're saying, well, we're trying to fix your mess. So Elon's trying to fix the mess over at X, which there is a mess because I don't know if you heard, but Judge Andrew Napolitano lost his X account. It got hacked just like mine. We got to get it back. We got to rally for the judge. Speaking of the judge, did you guys see? I've been getting so aggressive and crafty trying to grow this business. I want to succeed. I want the For Liberty Network to succeed. And part of that, a major part of that is forlibertyshop.com, guys. There's just no getting around it. Commerce, running a business and selling products. Look at that book, Calvin the Coolest President. That didn't exist 5 years ago because Stephanie and I wrote it, right? We're spreading the ideas of liberty. We're using commerce. It's transparent. It is what it is. It's delicious coffee. It's founding flavors. We've got Wake Up America Show merch. Check out my awesome Gulf of America 20-ounce tumbler. I drink out of that every day. It's so handy. Right there. And I got founding flavors in my cup over here in my thermos. I got my delicious Gulf of America water here. And you guys can get this too. Imagine having those boxes sitting on your desk or sharing Calvin the Coolest President with a child that you love. You can do that if you visit forlibertyshop.com. Now we have, if you're a Judge Napolitano fan, we have the Judge Napolitano collection. I've been working on this behind the scenes. You guys already know that we took over the merch for Walton and Johnson, my buddy Kenny Webster down in Texas. I've been on his radio show quite a lot lately. We've been kind of getting tight. But Judge Andrew Napolitano, I saw that his merch was, I would say, lackluster before, needed a little bit of a sprucing up, made the proposal. We signed the deal. We got Judge Napolitano. He's on board for libertyshop.com. This small business is a little less small as of yesterday. So if you haven't already, check out the For Liberty Shop website and get yourself a box of coffee, and get yourself a box of coffee and check out the Judge's collection and smile and be happy because we are now really turning into an actual enterprise over here. We've got several shows. We've got 4 shows on this network now. 4 live shows, which are, a freaking pain to produce and do it well. 4 live shows. We now have the shows. We have multiple personalities and large personalities that are having their merchandise hosted on our website. This is ours, guys. We built this. We built this with our 2 hands. The Department of Government Efficiency merch. If you're a big fan of Elon Musk, people love the Doge Father mouse pads. Those are awesome. The Department of Government Efficiency merch has no equal anywhere else. People love the Doge Field Agent shirt. On the front, it has our fake logo for the Department of Government Efficiency, which is the best logo I've seen from it, by the way. And then on the back of the shirt, just to stick the knife in as you're walking around, you're a Doge Field Agent. If you're in Missouri, this is actually legit because you can be a government spending snitch here in the state of Missouri, which I don't like it when citizens snitch on each other in the private market, but I like it when government is being snitched on by its citizens. You know what I'm saying? So join the Doge Field Agent program, get your t-shirt, and get mission ready. Go to forlibertyshop.com. Now the host of the Judge Napolitano collection, the Walton and Johnson Freedom collection, the Doge collection, the Gulf of America collection. We are the best. We are the best. Doge was unleashed last night. Musk is going to slash the fat. Trump's all in on Doge. His Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk's running it, promising to gut federal waste. Here's a wild stat. 4.7 million Social Security folks aged 100 to 109, some up to 149. True or typo? It's a libertarian dream, right? If he delivers, right? So will he be able to make cuts to people who are maybe receiving checks at 149 years old? The Democrats say, no, it's a lie. It's a lie. Smeagol. Trump's still fixated on Greenland for some reason.
And I also have a message tonight for the incredible people of Greenland. We strongly support your right to determine your own future.
Yes.
And if you choose, we welcome you into the United States of America. We need Greenland for national security and even international security.
Strategic sheep herding purposes.
And we're working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security. And I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it. We will keep you safe.
Careful there, Trump.
We will make you rich, and together we will take Greenland to heights like you have never thought possible before. It's a very small population, but very, very large piece of land and very, very important for military security. And
You might have a good point there, but like one way or the other, I would say, like, careful with that kind of talk, Mr. President. What about here domestically, not foreign issues? What about here?
And as we reclaim our sovereignty, we must also bring back law and order to our cities and towns. In recent years, our justice system has been turned upside down by radical left lunatics.
It points at him.
Many
He points right at him, And look at Mike Johnson. He's got those eyes. And then, J.D. Vance, who, by the way, the J.D. Vance memes have just been spectacular, hilarious. I love it. I love the fat J.D. Vance memes that have been going around. Have you seen these? I posted some of them yesterday. Showed you some of them in the show. But J.D. Vance looking very Chad last night.
Jurisdictions virtually see the law against dangerous repeat offenders while weaponizing law enforcement against political opponents like me. My administration has acted swiftly and decisively to restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law, starting at the FBI and the D.O.G.E. Pam, good luck. Cash, wherever you may be, good luck.
Yeah, where are the Epstein files, bitches?
Good luck. Pam Bondi.
Pam Bondi.
Good
I
luck.
think Pam might be a little in over her head.
You do a great job. Cash, thank you.
Cash TBD.
Thank you, Cash.
Cash made a lot of promises before he was the director of the FBI, and I think for those of us who truly want to see results, we'll be keeping a close eye on Mr. Patel.
They've already started very strong. They're going to do a fantastic job. You're going to be very proud of them. We're also once again giving our police officers the support, protection, and respect they so dearly deserve. They have to get it. They have such a hard, dangerous job.
Popo shut us down, down. Popo shut us down, down. What's the solution to our domestic economic woes?
A major focus of our fight to defeat inflation is rapidly reducing the cost of energy. The previous administration cut the number of new oil and gas leases by 95%, slowed pipeline construction to a halt, and closed more than 100 power plants. We are opening up many of those power plants right now.
Amen. This is what I want to hear. This is what I want to hear.
And frankly, we have never seen anything like it. That's why on my first day in office, I declared a national energy emergency.
We had to stop the Biden admin from blocking us from drilling on our own lands.
You've heard me say many times we have more liquid gold under our feet than any nation on earth.
Liquid gold. Can't not think of that commercial.
And now I fully authorize the most talented team ever assembled to go and get it. It's called Drill, Baby, Drill.
Ooh. I got chills down my spine. I got chills, they're multiplying, and I'm losing control. You got the power to rectify it. It's electrifying. You better shape up, 'cause I need some oil, and my sight is set on Alaska. You are the one that I want.
My administration is also working on a gigantic natural gas pipeline in Alaska.
Yes.
Among the largest in the world, where Japan, South Korea, and other nations want to be our partner with investments of trillions of dollars each. There's never been anything like that one.
Oh, yeah.
It will be truly spectacular. It's all set to go. The permitting is gotten. And later this week, I will also take historic action to dramatically expand production of critical minerals and rare earths here in the USA.
This. The spice. The spice must flow. Let me do the Frankie Valli right now. Grace is the word, here's my Frankie Valli impression. I took on Grace is the word. Oh, we got a lot of Frankie Valli fans in here. Hey, I love Frankie Valli. I love you, baby. And if it's quite all right, I need you to stop booing me, baby. Think of me when I say, oh, pretty baby. Don't click that like button unless you're based, baby. You'll click the follow button for me, baby. Trust in me when I say. Frankie Valli, you know, have you seen the videos of him, the viral videos that have been going around? Poor guy needs to just take a break. I love me Frankie Valli, right? I'm not hating on no Frankie Valli hate. We do need the rare earth minerals for all the green tech and, in fact, all of the tech innovations. Correct. You're just too good to be true, Quest Fanning. Can't take my eyes off of you, Sign of Jonah. You're just like heaven to touch, Dad Bod Baboon. I want to hold you so much, Luke Sacker. At long last, helping freedom is alive and has arrived. Steelbringer, thank God you're alive. You're just too good to be true, Drew Van Runkle. Can't take my eyes off of you, C.O. Day. Volta was much better. Thanks, Barney Steels. Very funny. Very funny. Are we entertained on the Wake Up America show? I'm a little punch drunk from last night's show to today. Are we going to finally end the war in Ukraine? Please, God, yes.
Earlier today, I received an important letter from President Zelensky of Ukraine. The letter reads, Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. Nobody wants peace more than the Ukrainians, he said. My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts. We do really value how much America has done to help Ukraine maintain its sovereignty and independence. Regarding the agreement on minerals and security, Ukraine is ready to sign it at any time that is convenient for you. I appreciate that he sent this letter, just got it a little while ago. Simultaneously, we've had serious discussions with Russia and have received strong signals that they are ready for peace. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't that be beautiful?
It would. He got caught on camera applauding with his blue and yellow Ukraine tie. He saw that the cameras came on. He wanted peace in Ukraine for sure, but
Wouldn't that be beautiful?
I guess I don't get why people applaud when they applaud like this ever, you know, like you're not even really clapping. Like, listen, you know, why do people applaud like that, right? It makes it look worse, unless you're purposely doing it. Remember when Nancy Pelosi in the first administration did the clap for Trump when she was Speaker of the House? She was like looking down on the president going like this. And the Democrats thought it was an own. Hold on, let me get an angle where we can do this. You know, remember that thing for a while that white girls did, like females online, liberal females especially, where they did like clapping after everything. They would like, don't talk to me about race if you're not a black man. If you are a white male, clap hands. You know the clap hands emoji? Does everybody remember this? They would do the clap hands emoji, and it was kind of like, you know, it was the digital equivalent of like Nancy Pelosi, or like somebody getting in your face and being like, okay, honey, so I'm gonna need you to. Oh my God, I used to work with women who used to do that. They would get in your face and do like that, and like, you know, sometimes you'd get gay men who would do that to you, talk to you like that, but usually those gay men were talented, not DEI hires. They actually had merit. I'm talking about like the gay producers and directors and things like that. They'd be like, okay, honey, you need to get on your mark now. And 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And you'd be like, okay, bitch, I'm going, man. Listen, all right, listen to Baryshnikov. But it was always some mediocre bitch who would get in your face with this and be like, okay, are you paying attention? All this kind of stuff. It's kind of like, yeah, like I got it. It's on handle, you know, and I don't need your boss babe vibes right now. Better than Mike clapping into the mic all night, says Ashley. Good morning, Ashley. CO Day hanging out with us in the chat. Let's drop some Rumble rants, guys. We got 36 minutes of fun. I've been singing Frankie Valli and God knows what else. Grease, Travolta, you better shape up, because I need a rant. And your wallet is right on you, so open it up. You are the rant that I want. Drop some rants, honey. You're the one that I want. You are the one that I want.
Can you bless me with something?
Oh, gosh.
Money-wise. Please.
Can you drop a Rumble rant, please, my little pineapples?
Good morning, pineapple.
Turn, kick, turn. Thank you, Luke Sacker.
Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice.
With no end in sight, the United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense. With no security, with no anything. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes.
Oh, dude! What's going on? You might be sleeping, and if you fall asleep or you don't pay attention to what the president's saying, you might miss something very funny. Wait a minute, what did he just say?
Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes.
Oh my God, dude. Talking about keeping the war going for another 5 years. Pocahontas says yes. I mean, here's the thing. Zelensky came out and said after that Trump meeting, said, the war's going to go on for a long time. Trump, I mean, this is all moving so fast. Trump then pulls the aid to Ukraine, and then Ukraine is now like, we want deal fast. Good for you. The Democrats would have been happy to keep this stuff going for as long as it takes to, I don't know, bleed the rest of us dry until Elizabeth Warren looks like Dianne Feinstein and she's got 3 houses like Bernie Sanders. You know what I'm saying?
2,000 people are being killed every single
Thank you, Fiery Waco, for the Rumble rant. You are the strongest link.
week. More than that. With no end in sight, the United States has sent.
Her name is Liawatha, Mr. President. Thank you, Aaron Kretschel. Check out Aaron Kretschel, Krechl, over on X. He's my boy. Oh.
Just listen to some of the appalling waste we have already identified. $22 billion from HHS to provide free housing and cars for illegal aliens. $45 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships in Burma. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is. $8 million to promote LGBTQI+.
Well, sedentary migrants. Hold on, Mr. President. Do we know what a sedentary migrant is? Like, there's a regular migrant and there's a sedentary migrant. And the regular migrant is one that migrates, and the other one's a little bit more sedentary. I think, is that clear?
$1 million to promote LGBTQI+ in the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of. $60 million for indigenous peoples and Afro-Colombian empowerment in Central America.
Now, wait a minute. Lesotho.
That's some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Let's see. Is Lesotho? It's a country in South Africa. Okay, so Lesotho, 37 minutes ago, breaking news, BBC reports Lesotho is shocked by Trump's remark that nobody has heard of the country. I mean, come on, please. This is like their moment right now. The tourist industry of Lesotho better be cutting this into some reels. Right now, they better be boosting those posts over on Instagram, on Meta. They better be giving Mark Zuckerberg some money today to get this post into people's feeds so people know what the hell Lesotho is. It's all hands on deck if you're at the marketing department for the Lesotho government.
Oh my God. Okay, it's happening. Everybody sit down.
This is your moment. Lesotho's government says it's shocked by U.S. President Donald Trump saying that nobody has ever heard of the South African nation. Okay, never heard of it until today. Trump, addressing the U.S. Congress, made the reference as he listed cuts made to what he said was wasteful expenditures. $8 million to promote LGBTQI+ in the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody's ever heard of. We are laughing. A spokesperson for Lesotho's Foreign Affairs Department said that Lesotho enjoys warm and cordial relations with the U.S. They benefit from the U.S.'s African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, which gives favorable trade access to some countries to promote their economic growth. Isn't he talking about doing that with like Argentina? I mean, not a subsidy, but like, economic favorable trade access. Ring a bell. Lesotho's Foreign Affairs Minister, Lehone Mapatjoane, said it was shocking to hear a head of state refer to another sovereign state in that manner. Really? I mean, it's shocking because people acknowledge you exist. Did you think? I mean, no offense to my fellow Americans, but geography was not America's strong point. I mean, guys, don't be mad at AP for telling the truth. You've seen the John Stossel segments where he goes out on the street and he shows people like a picture of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and then they think like Judge Judy is on the Supreme Court. Oh, ouch. Lesotho apparently a member of the UN. And of course, they're trying not to piss us off. They says, we maintain very warm and cordial relations with the U.S. They've got a mission in Maseru, and we also have one in Washington, says Foreign Affairs spokesperson Kutloano Fako to the BBC. So that's as fresh, hot news as of 30 minutes ago. Where else will you find it? We're going to speak to Remzo this morning at 8 a.m. Central Time. He's going to talk to us with his reaction to the president's speech. All the king's horses and all the king's men could not get the Democrats back together again. The scams, the level of scams and schemes that DOGE is finding are off the charts. Elon Musk shared this video last night, or this morning.
The media And our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Funny. Bad Leroy Brown.
We're going to. We're also identifying shocking levels of incompetence and probable fraud in the Social Security program for our seniors, and that our seniors and people that we love rely on. Believe it or not, government databases list 4.7 million Social Security members.
Dumbass. It's pronounced Dumas.
From people aged 100 to 109 years old.
No! Why are you shouting?
It lists 3.6 million people from ages 110 to 119. I don't know any of them. I know some people that are rather elderly, but not quite that elderly. 3.47 million people from ages 120 to 129. 3.9 million people from ages 130 to 139. 3.5 million people from ages 140 to 149. And money is being paid.
Listen to the hecklers, man. He just takes it like a champ, lets it roll off of him.
To many of them.
Remember when Obama got heckled once? Like somebody shouted, was it Joe? Somebody, he shouted, "You lie." And like Obama did like this whole kind of effete, like, you know, waving of his finger at him, you know, it was like, "You lied." It was like, and like everybody was like, oh, they were so scandalized. Like, this is how far we've come here in this country. And let me tell you, I know people are like, oh, return to decorum, return to decorum. If you've never seen question time from the parliamentary system, there's one thing that I would take from like the British parliamentary system. They also have it in Canada. Their prime minister has to go before their parliament and answer questions. And it's raucous and riotous. And Margaret Thatcher was the best at it. Some of hers, I've played on old shows, some of her question time appearances where she's like, the socialists would rather the rich get poorer than the poor get richer. They want the line of poverty to be like that. Not like that, right? You know, she was epic. She was legendary. But this is kind of like that. It's a free country.
And we're searching right now. In fact, Pam, good luck. Good luck. You're going to find it. But a lot of money is paid out to people because it just keeps getting paid and nobody does. And it really hurts Social Security and hurts our country. 1.3 million people from ages 150 to 159 and over 130,000 people, according to the Social Security databases, are age over 160 years old. We have a healthier country.
Lies. False. Like, they're so bored looking. They're not even really this into it. Look at that. This guy back here is on his cell phone.
Than I thought, Bobby.
By the way, side note, I don't know if anybody saw this, but the IRS is going to cut half of its 90,000 person workforce.
We're going to.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Here's the guy who got kicked out last night, Al Green. Let's stay together. No, not that Al Green. Loving you weather.
President said he had a mandate. Was making it clear to the president that he has no mandate.
Oh, C-SPAN, why can't you get your stuff together? Al Green says, president says he has no mandate. He got kicked out, acting a fool. Even CNN was not pleased with the Democrats' performance last night.
Look at what's happening. The Democrats are not even acknowledging the cabinet right now. I just don't remember that.
Did
being
you see that?
Standard. At least they would get up and shake their hands.
Just the visual here that they're
not engaging. This is not a pathway forward to bipartisanship. Look
Yeah.
at what's happening. The Democrats are not even
I saw Chuck Schumer standing next to Donald Trump, giving him the cold shoulder, and it's like, you guys are supposed to be the leaders of the free world, and you're supposed to demonstrate at least some cordiality, right? It's kind of like, you know, let me tell you something. When I go into the Kumite ring and I'm getting ready to like try and punch a dude in the face and kick him in the stomach and like kick his legs out from underneath him and like, you know, backhand him to the side of the head, you know what I do? I bow, right? Bow and say, "Hos," right? And then we shake hands, and then we, even MMA fighters, right? But these people don't have that much courtesy. The Democrats, they're in big trouble because of things like this.
How did you feel about his message regarding the economy?
I thought it was very positive. I think what's happening now, we used to be a country that would just let everything happen. Okay, we'll do this. You know, you guys, Panama can have this. You know, I think now we're taking back things that should have never been given away.
Yeah.
So I think doing those tariffs and everything, I think it's well overdone. I mean, it should have been done a long time ago.
How did you feel about his message?
Yeah, don't agree with the tariffs, obviously, but, you know, Panama Canal, maybe. Problem, of course, with the Panama Canal thing is we're celebrating BlackRock taking control of both sides of the canal. I thought that we Trumpies were not big fans of BlackRock.
To the results. What was your reaction to Trump's speech? 44% of speech watchers in our instant poll tonight say they had a very positive reaction to Trump's speech. 25% somewhat positive, 31% negative. To the results. What was your reaction to Trump's speech?
They loved it. That's CNN.
So it's one thing to mine our differences. It's another thing to try and heal our differences. And that is, you know, that's the difference between real leadership and political expediency.
Would it have been healing to stand for Mark Fogel? Might have been.
No, I agree. You know, you are absolutely right.
DJ Johnson.
What I will do what you will not. I will say, I thought that was just, I think there were times when they should have risen. I think what Al Green did was despicable.
That's David Axelrod, former Obama advisor. Thank you to Steelbringer over there, dropping those Rumble rants. Keep the Rumble rants coming, guys. Bless me with something.
Can you bless me with something?
Oh, gosh.
Money war.
This was a horrific night for the opposition party, regardless of how well she just spoke. It started out with Al Green getting thrown off the House.
Look at that woman's eyes. I want you to, when he says that, you watch her eyes as she looks at Scott Jennings over there at CNN. I mean, if looks could kill, this look would be murder.
This was a horrific night for the opposition party, regardless of how well she just spoke. It started out with Al Green getting thrown off the House floor because he couldn't keep his emotions under control. Then they had the ridiculous paddles, which now social media is roasting.
That you said false on one side. And
ridiculous.
Elon on
and
the
then
other.
finally, and maybe most terribly, the Democrats who couldn't find it in their heart to stand for objectively good things, including the 95-year-old mother of Mark Fogel and Mark, who got rescued from a Russian prison, and they couldn't even stand up for that. I thought Democrats came into this speech lost and defeated by Donald Trump, and today it looks to me like they're even more lost and even more defeated than when this speech started.
Well done, Scott Jennings. Speaking of defeated Democrats.
For the record, and this is disgusting, the president made a spectacle out of praising a young man who thus far survived pediatric cancer, as if the president had something to do with that. This was in the midst of him praising DOGE. The DOGE cuts, among other things, have cut off funding for ongoing research into pediatric cancer.
They are not having it, man. Democrats. Hear more about that little boy who survived pediatric cancer. Here's how MSNBC reported it.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ, and I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has.
They would wish that boy dead in 95 hours if it would hurt Donald Trump. That's how disgusting these people are.
A long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide.
Oh,
and I hope he isn't one who
What?
has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
Cringe! Cringe! What's wrong with you, lady? What is wrong with you? Jesus, they're monsters.
Care about this country, and that is unacceptable if you claim to be the president of the United States. So we are here. We are not going anywhere. We are going to continue to fight back, and we are going to continue to speak lies to his truth, to his stealing, and to his cheating. Thank you.
Oh God, they're just more despondent and dispirited than ever. It's just like it's just cringe to watch. Here's that young man that they were talking about last night.
But you wanna know the craziest part? Because my mom bathes me and my brothers all together, and out of nowhere I locked up, and then my dad was calling my name, and I started going to the slow thing, and he said, "Stop playing with me," and I then I started to act, I ain't gonna lie, I started to act slow, and then as soon as he said that, we was speeding all the way, running lights, going to the hospital, and then next thing you know, I was seizing on the table. They said, "Nah, we gonna have to go in his brain tonight." Ever since then, I had 13 brain surgeries, and that's how many times my personality has changed, and that's something that you don't hear from a terminally ill child. They had 5 months to live. I'm gonna keep on going until my gas tanks run out. And that's when God calls you home. You never know when God's gonna call you home. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my dad. I know he's pretty proud of me, and I'm pretty proud of him too. And I'd like to thank President Trump, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today.
Got me with that one. Okay. Remzo Martinez joins us live. Hey, Remzo, what do you think about the president's speech? All the king's horses and all the king's men won't be able to put you back together again from what I'll do to you if you leave during the commercial break. Don't leave. Stay here. Click like. Go to forlibertyshop.com. Do a little shopping. We do a little shopping and a little trolling when we get back. It's the Wake Up America show. Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your founding flavors at apforlibertyshop.com.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive. And if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that at the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject? And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would wipe out entire nations, or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history, or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. Five times I've been up here. It's very sad, and it just shouldn't be this way. And once again...
He's right. Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show, and that's on the 4 Liberty Network. Did you get to see the brand new show on the 4 Liberty Network last night? There were pretty fair amount of people hanging out with us on the new live show last night, the Freedom Arcade. You know who you are. Thanks for joining us then. And if you missed last night, you get another chance every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Central Time after you watch Culturama. Just stick around, hang out with me and Stephanie and Hazel as we play video games and chat about history, life, love, and how to get a girlfriend. My next guest, Remzo Martinez. He's the man. We've known each other for well over a decade now. He is a freedom fighter extraordinaire. He's been in the trenches, on the front lines, advancing the cause, just like me, just a few years less. He's just a little younger. He's a handsome man. His name's Remzo Martinez. Ladies, check him out. Here he is. Good morning, Remzo. How you doing, you beautiful thing?
I am doing A-okay. I'm Livin in Wisconsin, only for another month, so please, I got blur out the background so you don't see all the boxes and everything, but no, it's good to be on this morning. Thanks for having me.
Remzo, the speech last night, it wasn't kind of like the explosions that I expected. I thought maybe we would get like some kind of blow-ups. It was just, Al Green, the bad Al Green, not the good Al Green, getting tossed out. But I felt optimistic. He says that America is going to enter our greatest era. He talks about drilling. Sure, there's some things I don't like tariffs here or there or what have you, but we're talking about border security. The country's heading in the right direction. The Democrats, they didn't stand for anything, even the things that anybody would agree with. Are they blowing it? What's your reaction to last night? Big picture.
They're lemmings. Did you see who Chuck Schumer's special guest was?
No.
It was Harry Ethan. And I'm like, if the future of your party is the random representative from Michigan, if it's Harry Season, if it's David Hogg, who will soon be calling inmate David Hogg very soon, you're directionless. And what I saw was that, they had all their like little Chuck E. Cheese favors and everything. They're so demotivated. I've never seen Democrats at any point in any of the elections that I've been alive for, at any point where they have been this demotivated, where they have not been unified on a message that actually resonates with common sense, regular Americans. And as far as Trump goes last night, I didn't know what to kind of expect from this. I was kind of going into it with he's either going to go all out or he's going to, be a little bit more tapered or somewhere in the middle. It was kind of like, that clip that you played, it was kind of like a Don Corleone speech. Like, you never come say hi to me. Yeah. You never wish me happy favors.
On the day of my wedding, you did not even call me Godfather.
Exactly. Like, that was it. Like, it was more like he was just looking at them saying that. And that was like, straight from the gut. And I'm like... He's just done with them. The false decorum, the theater and the cathedral of American government. He's just done with it. There was one thing I wanted. I wanted him to go up there and just look at them, just be silent for a moment and say, yeah, I guess who's back. But when he was talking about political persecution and how he was targeted as a political opponent, when he was like, yeah, how'd that work out for you? I'm like, oh my gosh, like he's done. He's so done with these people, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah, it's highly entertaining. The Greenland stuff, like I've definitely been a big fan of the Gulf of America rename. Don't know how he's going to pull off Greenland. He kind of freaked me out a little bit when he says, but we need Greenland. He's like, we have to have Greenland. We're going to have Greenland one way or another. And I was kind of like, oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. Well, so we want to end the war in Ukraine. We're going to declare war on Denmark to get Greenland. I don't know if I'm on board, but I like the idea of letting Greenland vote. I like this idea. But what does the Godfather have in store for foreign policy? He wants to end the war in Ukraine. The Democrats seem to be clapping to keep the war going. Elizabeth Warren, he called her freaking Pocahontas to her face. I'm laughing my ass off. But it's a serious point. The Democrats seem to want Ukraine to go on forever. Why?
They need to. This is the new thing. They need the new Afghanistan. They need the new cause. Ukraine is the one thing that can still get a decent amount of Republicans, whether they're conservative or neocons or not. Let's just use the broad term Republicans. It's the one thing that they could still get a broad amount of Republicans to kind of rally around because they like the idea of fighting Russia. But, going back a second, focusing on Greenland, I mean, this week he's already talked about the idea, or it's been talked around him about pulling out of NATO. He wants to go ahead and end that conflict. He keeps pushing it onto Europe. He reemphasized several times last night, we've got these two beautiful oceans, and we're going to go ahead and build a gold dome, which I don't know how we could pay for that. That's one of my criticisms. I'm like, okay, how do we pay for that? But Trump is going back to the Monroe Doctrine. Not to sound like a nerd, but he's like, listen, you can't mess around with South America. Me and Malay are going to not mess around with you. Mexico's finally getting around to things. We're going to go ahead and designate the Sinaloa drug cartel, Tranque de Agua, and MS-13. We're going to go ahead and classify them as terrorist organizations. And as far as Greenland is concerned, when you look at that part of the world where the ice is melting around the Arctic, what you're looking at is it's going to become a natural resources race. And Russia is already looking at that. So as far as I'm looking at it, it's like, he's protecting our hegemony, because if it's not America, who is it? That's going to be something that people, even non-interventionists, have to talk about. But in terms of everything else that happens in Asia, that happens in Europe, I don't know if it was last night, but it was an interview he did earlier this week where he called out Korea. I think it was last night. He called out Korea. He's like, you know what? We ask really nothing of Korea, and we give them so much. I've been saying for years that we either need to make South Korea a 51st state, or we need to completely pull out. Oh, our strategic advantage against China. It's like, no, define the relationship. Any Christian couple in church that's trying to, go steady is always going to have to define the relationship talk before the one guy tries to get laid. You got to define that relationship, South Korea, because I am not happy with how they treat us. I am not happy with how South Korea treats us. So he's pulling back to where it makes sense, and he's letting everything else fall where it may. But as far as I'm concerned, Greenland didn't freak me out as much as Mars. I'm like, okay, that's something he's talked about, but I don't know how I feel about that. Panama, I can make a case for it, but it's not without reason. Nothing's without reason at this point.
What about the Godfather taking Panama, but doing it through BlackRock? I mean, I know that, before the election, all of the Trumpers were whenever BlackRock came up, and I heard now they're pulling out of ESG. I just read that this week in the Wall Street Journal. But they were the evil corporation, remember, or are the evil corporation that are buying up all these single family homes across the country as a corporation. A lot of MAGA people are like, we got to stop BlackRock. Well, BlackRock was now the people who invested in both ends of the Panama Canal. Most people, you love history nerding out. I love history nerding out. Like, the state of Virginia was actually founded by a corporation. What was the name of the corporation? Do you remember? It was like the East something trading company or something like that. So
it wasn't the East India Trading Company.
It was like,
I only remember them.
Yeah, or like they started up a new corporation for the purpose of incorporating Virginia, and
it was like a mercantilist association or something. Like
right,
that.
mercantile.
It's not unheard of, and you have this through other parts of the world. And the thing is like, you got to go in from the negotiation of trade. When you look at large shipping companies like Maersk, look at them, for example. You're dealing not with a company, you're dealing with basically a sovereign nation without borders. It's one of those situations where it's also like, how do you fight BlackRock? Like, how do you really fight them? I don't trust Larry Fink. Trump wanted him to be, Secretary of Treasury at one point. He even talked about appointing Larry Fink to the Fed and some other positions. I was like, I don't feel good with that. That feels too revolving door for me.
Yeah, but Larry Fink is the guy who's like, we're forcing behaviors. He's like, if you don't, he's just a few years away from him having said that at BlackRock we're forcing behaviors. Their whole DEI, ESG thing. They were like leading the way, and they were forcing it on the companies that did business with them.
Oh, yeah. And if Kamala Harris was president right now, BlackRock would be telling you to cut the genitals off your children.
Yeah, exactly. So, thank you.
How Trump is managing to coerce this relationship, it's one of the situations where I am curious as to, does the dog wag the tail or does the tail wag the dog?
Yeah.
If it's going to be used as a negotiating tool, and if they're going to be like one of those third parties that can help solidify, keeping China out from dictating who can come in and out and who gets access to special ports and everything, maybe I'm okay with that. But this is one of the situations where it's like we just got to sit back and watch and hope that he knows what he's doing. Because Austin, I can tell you, I have no clue. I don't feel comfortable with it whatsoever.
Yeah. Tariffs. If there's one thing I think the president should not be doing, it is handing potential victories to the Democrats, talking points that make people like myself go, all right, well, they've got a good point. You know, my mother-in-law was freaking out yesterday because when you're retired, you live on a fixed income, your portfolio, your 401k, your Roth IRAs. This is, you know, how you're making your living. So yesterday the markets are freaking out over the tariffs. And people are saying things like, oh, this is strategic. He wants to drop the tariffs. But then, you know, you were talking about Javier Milei and the possibility of, like, you know, the Monroe Doctrine and a hemispheric common market, which is really fascinating bit of trivia. If you go back to Hillary Clinton's Goldman Sachs speeches, she actually talked about this concept as well. But if you consider the tariffs, when, you know, usually whenever a Democrat says something, like 99 out of 100 times when they say something about Trump, I just roll my eyes and I'm like, you say that's a good thing, like the good thing, like it's the bad thing, because I think what you think is the bad thing are good things. That I don't care about the federal employees losing their jobs and the 60,000 IRS agents being slashed in half to 30,000 IRS agents. That thing that you think is a bad thing, I think is a good thing. But when my mother-in-law is freaking out about her Roth IRA, her retirement, and these tariffs are roiling markets, and I'm just looking at like the sort of, you know, this kind of unnecessary trade war, it gives the Democrats a talking point that people like myself are kind of like, yeah, that's dumb. I don't like it. I don't support it. But if it's a tactic to get fewer tariffs laid on us, I guess I support it. But at the end of the day, if it's a bluff, at some point somebody calls your bluff, you got to do it. I've never been in favor of this. Maybe it's 4D chess. Maybe it's not. Remzo, what's your take on the whole trade war? Because it's heating up.
Let's look at the world after World War II. We have the Marshall Plan. We go in and we build up Germany. And what do we do to help Germany's economy go from absolute rubble to being a big financial hub by the time the wall comes down and everything? We told them to place tariffs on us and our partners. We told them to do that. And Germany is now one of the leading nations in Europe and the world. Look at Japan. How did Japan go from being rubble to being, you know, one of our largest international trade partners and one of our largest international technology competitors in the 80s through early 90s? It came through tariffs that we told them to place on us. Now, you would think after the American people spend billions of dollars, probably trillions when you adjust for inflation, on redeveloping these countries, and then we tell them that in order to help them, we are willing to pay a higher tariff to export our stuff over there. You would think that at some point they would lower those tariffs, but Germany never has. Japan never has. Those are just two examples of countries that we have provided aid to. We have told them to tariff us, and after the point where it makes sense for them to probably take it down, they didn't because they got greedy. That's a big thing. They're not grateful, and they're doing it at the expense of the United States because they took advantage of our goodwill. Now, that's old history. Let's go back 7 years. There was a moment. It's a famous picture of Trump. He's at the table sitting down. You got Shinzo Abe that's standing right next to him, and Merkel is throwing her witch finger in his face, and all these European leaders are following her and stuff. And what was one of the big arguments? Yeah, it was about NATO, but it was also about tariffs, because Trump term 1 was very pro-tariff. They said, why are you doing this? This is ridiculous. Don't you know why we need to do this? Blah, 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 blah. German blabber, blabber. He went ahead and said, hey, if these tariffs bother you so much, why don't we just eliminate them? Aren't we supposed to be trade partners? Why don't we just have unilateral free trade with no tariffs? He threw it back at them. He called their bluff. So it wasn't about the tariff. It was about the U.S. having to sponsor and support everyone else financially.
So I just want to make sure I'm clear because, and you know, you could be right, I could be wrong, Remzo, but I'd rather be right than wrong. Your claim is that the U.S. told Japan and Germany to impose tariffs on the United States after World War II in order to rebuild their economies. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, because I don't remember that, and an initial search is not providing any information for me to do that, because that
Maybe
would
I'm
be
wrong.
that would be an interesting factoid for me. I mean, but if you have any evidence for that, please do come forward with that, because everything that I'm seeing, I'm running it through like multiple engines right now. I'm not finding any information that validates a position that the U.S. told Japan or Germany to impose tariffs. Everything I'm seeing is saying that we told them to implement market economies in order to improve their economies. And yes, there was a Marshall Plan, and yes, there was direct economic assistance to Japan. But my understanding is, and again, Japan became a world power. Germany never really did. Germany is still poorer than Mississippi, the poorest state in the United States. Germany is still poorer than them. I mean, the poor in Europe wish that they lived like the poor in the United States, who have two or three television sets, 2 cars, right, and a double wide trailer to live in, versus what they live in, the hovels that they live in the huts around the rest of the world. But if I'm wrong about that, I would be interested to learn more about that scenario. But if you have any, please.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember where I remembered this. I just remember it was something that I thought was factual. So I'll go ahead and look at it later.
In the pit of my gut, I despise taxes. And some libertarians will say, but Austin, would you prefer tariffs to an income tax? Sure, I'd rather you cut off my little toe than my right arm. You know, I would do that. But that's not what we're getting. We're getting the income tax, and we're getting tariffs on top of them. And frankly, I just don't think this country really needs any more upward pressure on prices, which is, you know, we've had grocery inflation that's been kind of bad. The egg situation, terrible. And a lot of the stuff isn't Trump's fault, but I'm just really hoping that the president doesn't stop racking up the easy wins and sort of doesn't hand easy wins to the Democrats. But the Democrats, of course, I mean, you know what's weird, Remzo, and you'll understand this, is that the Democrats seem to be in the strange, same kind of purity spiral that the Libertarian Party is in many ways. And I say this, that the Libertarian Party is in, because there's really not a lot going on over there much anymore. It's kind of like, to some extent, it's crickets. It's always a tempest in a teapot anyway, but at this point, it's like a very, very quiet tempest. But it's fascinating because the Democrats seem to be engaged in like this identity politics, extremist purity spiral. And I don't know how they break out of this. Certainly, I mean, not with Pocahontas. How do they do it with Chuck Schumer? I mean, he brings Harry Sisson, you said, as his guest. I mean, we talked about like these effete leaders, these young male leaders that they're bringing up for the Democratic Party. It's the party of skinny jeans, 112 pounds, soaking wet Democrat males and 350-pound life Democrat females. It's I like how Scott Adams. He said it. He says it's the party of women and the men who are afraid of the women. How do they come back from this? I mean, be honest. How could they come back from this? Like, how could the Republicans screw this up?
It all comes down to the voter at the end of the day. It's one of the reasons why I've never been in favor of term limits. I think that term limits are, called elections, and that ultimately the voters get what they vote for, good, bad, and in the middle. What does freak me out is that the American voter seems to have like the memory of a goldfish sometimes. We seem to forgive a lot very fast. And, it's one of the reasons why I didn't vote Republican in 2022 during those midterms. I didn't vote really until the general election because Republicans completely gave up all the COVID fights. They gave up all the lockdown fights. They gave up everything that we saw happen among the states during the lockdowns. And they kept focusing on inflation, and they kept trying to throw numbers out. They kept trying to make it a financial issue. And largely they got their asses kicked again, and it wasn't too great. It was one of those situations where, we kind of just, we tend to allow the Democrats to get away with more than we would allow any normal situation to get away with. But the one thing that does motivate me is the fact that Republicans, for the first time ever, are more active now. They understand that you can't just leave these off-year elections to chance, that you have to take these fights head on. And if you're not directing, you're leading. And if you're explaining, you're losing. And I'm at the point now where I've questioned this for years. Does the Democratic Party in this situation, do they split? Does it become two parties? Does it become a moderate Labor Party? And then do we have like these radical socialists? Is it the AOCs versus the John Ossoffs? Is it, the Shapiros versus the Sanders and stuff like that? Where, ideologically, they really mesh together pretty well, but who's willing to die on these issues if it means that they can't get elected to power? It's a weird situation. And I look at this no different really than how the Republicans were after 2012, when it went from being the party of, okay, we're going to be the strict neocons and nominate Mitt Romney every year and John McCain, to, suddenly we're allowing voices such as Rand Paul and Mike Lee and the Thomas Masseys of the world to actually, have a platform. So this could go either way, but we're not gonna see the same talking points as last time, I hope. I think a lot of the transgender stuff specifically, this is what lost a lot of people. This idea that, you can just completely ignore reality. As Trump said last night, wokeness is gone. It's gone, and hopefully it's gone for good.
Should Elon Musk purchase and privatize the U.S. post office entirely?
Yes. It doesn't even have to be him. It could be McDonald's for all I care. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Is Elon Musk kind of the rock star of the Republican Party at this moment, the Department of Government Efficiency and what they're doing over there? Because, we could quibble about tariffs and trade policy and all this kind of stuff, but I feel like the shit that really matters is what Elon Musk is doing. Would you agree?
I would agree, but here's my question for you, Austin. Who's going to be the first Republican to turn on him when he starts going after their favorite pet projects?
I think it's already happening. I'm seeing it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm seeing it out there, man. I'm seeing the Republicans, when they really start talking about some of these deep cuts, some of these Republicans start getting a little antsy. I mean, for God's sakes, they didn't pass Senator Rand Paul's amendment to the spending bill. Thomas Massey's still got to get out there and make a stink. So, it's the revolt against what Elon is doing, the Department of Government Efficiency on the right. It's already there. It's in place. I mean, talk about the Democrats opposing it, right? There's plenty of Republicans who do not want to cut the spending, who do not want to cut the make work jobs that are the federal government. Because let's be honest, Remzo, as you and I well know, many of these jobs, maybe millions of the jobs in the federal government, are there just to create a job for people who can't hack it in the private market. Am I right or am I wrong?
Oh, no, it's a welfare program for the incompetent and the lame and those of the best of intentions, but the worst of skills. I think the best thing to happen is to take an employee out of the federal government and put them in the private sector. At least they start creating value for somebody. But it's, it's one of the situations where I'm really thankful for the team that he's assembled, because I don't think Elon could start perusing through the Pentagon like he's wanted to without somebody like a Pete Hegseth there. I think right now that the big battle that we need to really pay attention to in terms of seeing where people fall on the things that matter is not going to be every Democrat that we know opposes DOGE. It's the Republicans. At this point, I think in order to solidify 2028, and hopefully, I cross my fingers, I knock on wood, a President J.D. Vance victory, I think we have to have the most aggressive and harsh primary season we've ever seen. The rhinos have to go. And I'm going to call it right now. Dan Crenshaw, Americans throughout the country should be supporting every primary opponent and get this man out of Texas and out of Congress for good. He is the leading rhino. And if we can take him out, everyone else is fair game.
There we go. That's Remzo Martinez. Remzo, what are you working on these days? Share with our audience a little bit about yourself and what you're doing.
So much. Want to go ahead and give a shout out over to the Pennsylvania Chase, which recently went ahead and launched its new Joe 1000 campaign. We're trying to elect 1,000 judge of elections candidates throughout the state of Pennsylvania. If you saw what we did in the general election, you know that what we're doing now is just as important. Go ahead and check out the PA Chase on X.
There it is, the PA Chase on X. Follow Remzo Martinez. He is the man, and we've known each other for a long time, and he's a true freedom fighter. But get me that information on the tariffs of Japan and U.S., because I'm have to adjust my worldview if I'm wrong about that. Appreciate you, Remzo. Have a good one.
Thank you, Austin. Appreciate it.
By the way, I think the speech is going to be great, but I don't know how you do this for 90 minutes.
The hardest thing was doing it during Biden, when the speech was a stupid campaign speech.
That's hilarious. So that's a hot mic moment. J.D. Vance and Speaker Mike Johnson. That's Vance saying to Johnson, I don't know how you do this for 90 minutes. And then Johnson, he realizes that the microphone is on there. So watch Johnson's microphone thing. Wasn't quiet enough, guys.
I think the speech is going to be great, but I don't know how you do this for 90 minutes.
The hardest thing was doing it during Biden, when the speech was a stupid campaign speech.
The hardest thing is doing it during Biden. Watch those mics, guys. Loose lips, sink ships. If the Democrats are going to stage a comeback, it's not going to be because of their leftist news media. The MSNBC segment last night, semi-attacking a boy who had cancer and wants to be a police officer one day. Listen to this.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years.
Are you sure?
And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people. But I think this was
What is wrong with you, dude? That was a train wreck. That was a total train wreck. But you know what was not a train wreck was our incredible show last night, the Freedom Arcade. Did you guys watch? In order to watch our new show, you've got to be a Rumble Premium member. Rumble has been one of the biggest supporters of the Wake Up America show. Without Rumble, we could probably have never gotten as far as we've gotten. Thanks to Rumble, Chris Pavlovsky, our friend Siraj Hashmi, Dylan Abad over at Rumble, so many people over there, especially locals too. They have been supporting the For Liberty Network. We stand Rumble. They don't censor me. They don't push me out. Sometimes they even push me out of the front page. So many of you may not even know me if it weren't for Rumble. Yes, many of you know me from other places, but without Rumble, I would not be where I'm at today. The network would not be where it's at today. Watching the show on Rumble is a thing. You guys want to watch the show on Rumble? Great. It's free. It's out there. It's open to the public. But if you want to watch our premium content, you have to be a Rumble Premium member. So they are offering $10 off with the promo code STUDIO when you purchase an annual subscription. If you want to go to rumble.com/premium today, make sure you use that promo code STUDIO. That will allow you to watch our exclusive content as well. There you go. Rock Rumble. Rumble, rock the Casbah. Rock the Casbah. Da, 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 choom, choom. Rock the Casbah. Rock the Casbah. What do you guys want to do for the last half an hour? You want to have some fun? Talk about some weird stuff. Gene Hackman's dead dog incorrectly ID'd in the latest twist of the actor's mysterious death. What the hell is going on? What the hell? Oh my God, no way. Gene Hackman's dog incorrectly identified. How do you incorrectly identify a dog? We're going to have to find out after I go pee for liberty. We're going to take a quick little break. Don't go away. We're going to talk about the mysterious death of Gene Hackman, his wife, and his... Not his dog? His dog? It's not his dog, man. It's his dog or it's not his dog? What the hell? We'll be right back. It's the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Don't go away.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you...
Nice to be back in the dry county again. When I was sheriff, about half of my take-home pay was from collecting taxes on illegal jukes like this. Probably works the same here. You know, I would think you'd haul in a tidy penny here, winking at the bootleggers. I know nothing about that. Thank you. Yeah, tidy penny. You got anything stronger than this, deputy?
No, we ain't.
Oh? You know, in Thornton, Mississippi, there's a joy juice still in every yard. Yeah, well, all you need is just some corn and sugar and a pot to boil it in. I tried to take the fingerprints of this old boy one time, and he'd had his hand in a mash barrel all his life. You know, well, there's no skin at all on there. There's no prints.
We ain't too interested in your good old Mississippi boy stories, Anderson. You ain't from here no more. Why'd you leave, anyway?
I just wanted to change the scenery. You know, the grit started leaving a bad taste in my mouth.
Well, if that's how you feel about it, Mr. FBI man, why don't you drink up that beer and get the hell on out of here and back to your commie nigger-loving bosses up north?
Oh, you must not know my boss, Mr. Hoover. He's not too fond of commies. He'd be on your side there.
I don't give two shits whose side you're Mr. Hoover's on, boy. All I know is we got 5,000 niggers in this county who ain't registered to vote yet. And as far as I'm concerned, they never will. So you can tell your stiff suits up there in Washington, D.C. that they ain't gonna change us one bit. Unless it's over my dead body. Or a lot of dead niggers.
You'd kill Frank? Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't give it no more thought than wringing a cat's neck. And there ain't a court in Mississippi that'd convict me for it.
How about you, Deputy? How you with wringing necks, huh?
Just keep pushing me, Hoover boy.
Get this straight, you corn old fucker. You tell your queer-ass nigger bosses up north they ain't never gonna find them civil rightsers down here. So you might as well pack up your bags and head your ass on back up north where you belong. Where'd it go? Oh!
You get this straight, shit kicker. Don't you go mistaking me for some whole other body. You got your brains in your dick if you think we're just gonna fade away. We're gonna be here till this thing's finished. How about you, Deputy? Is that gun just for show? Or do you get to shoot people once in a while?
Oh. Gene Hackman. My favorite movie with him was Superman. Can that YouTube video that I played on YouTube that says those things on YouTube get me taken down from YouTube? There's a lot of bad words there. Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching the Wake Up America show. The Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office reportedly incorrectly identified which of Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa's dogs was found dead with the couple in their home. What the hell is going on? Initial reports by sheriff's investigators included the detail that they had found a deceased brown in color German Shepherd canine. A description that matched the couple's beloved German Shepherd they called Bear. But Bear was alive and found perfectly healthy. He was in a local pet daycare facility along with Nikita, the couple's 7-year-old Akita Shepherd mix. Remember when they said initially no signs of foul play? What the hell? Oh my God, no way. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. Click the like button if you haven't already. It's going to be our greatest era yet. Glad and thankful to have you here. If you are a first timer, you're watching the Wake Up America show. Sorry for the language in that last clip, but we try and keep it PG-13, but it happens. Oops, we love Jesus, but we cuss a little. Sometimes. Click the like button and the follow button as well to support the Wake Up America show for free. Otherwise, drop a Rumble rant if you got it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you bless me with something?
Can you bless me with something?
Oh, gosh. Money-wise.
Can you suck it?
I'm talking about Don Corleone, Donald Trump, the Godfather. You do not honor me. You come to me on the day of my live stream, and you do not even drop a Rumble rant. Why do you disrespect me such? You say you want justice. How can you have justice if you cannot afford justice? No, I'm not advocating for a chicken in every pot, but I am advocating for individual liberty. So join us over here on the Wake Up America show this morning, where we will send Don Corleone to your house with a double barrel shotgun to the knees. Here are 10 things that people need to know about the mysterious death of Gene Hackman and his wife. 9 days dead. The pacemaker spills the creepy clue. Gene's pacemaker last pinged, isn't this wild? They can ping your pacemaker. February 17th, 9 days before the discovery. So Sheriff Aiden Mendoza says it's a damn good bet. That's when he kicked it. Betsy, his wife, no tech on her to tell, but her body's mummification hints that she wasn't far behind. Were they rotting alone all that time? Spooky as hell. The second thing you should know is the mummified mess. Betsy's body told a grim tale. Betsy's corpse straight out of a horror flick. Bloated face, hands, and feet mummified, decomposing. Gross. Gene's wasn't far off, found near his cane. Looks where like he took his final tumble. Dry Santa Fe air turned their luxury home into a tomb. It was kind of, nature's creepy preservation act. Pills and panic. Was Betsy reaching for help? Cops found an open orange prescription bottle. The pills strewn across the bathroom counter near Betsy's body. No labels of what kind of pills they were have been released, but whispers of an overdose swirled. Did she try to save Gene and then herself? Did she then, did she have a cardiac arrest? A forensic guru thinks that cardiac arrest hit Gene, and then Betsy scrambled and then had her own cardiac event, perhaps, but it depends. This is just wild. The fact that now we're finding out that the authorities misidentified the dog is just, I don't know. My tinfoil hat is going off like crazy. What do you guys? Are you with me that this just seems so mysterious? Gas leak bust. Not the killer we thought. Early buzz kind of screamed gas leak. That's what people were saying. The daughter, Elizabeth Jean, even pushed the toxic fumes thing. No. New Mexico Gas found a tiny 0.33% leak at the stove. 4 other code violations too as well, by the way, but not lethal. Don't violate the code. Carbon monoxide, negative on both sides. The plot thickens, right? So no significant findings of carbon monoxide leaks involved in the mysterious Gene Hackman circumstances. Amy J.E. says, what were the pills? Burnt toast space girlfriend doesn't want somebody to show up at her door with a shotgun or when she's getting on an elevator. She decided to pay the Godfather. She blessed me with something.
Can you bless me with something?
Please. Thank you very much. They call me the Godfather. Thank you, Burnt Toast Space Girlfriend, for $10. That's a lot. I'm very grateful. I know Fire Waco has made a donation today as well, and Quest Fanning and several others have as well. If you haven't already, please do bless me with something.
Can you bless me with something?
Or we will send the Godfather to your door. No, doggy death twist. The German Shepherd was found stiff in a closet, mummified too. But wait, 2 other pups survived. The sheriff's office botched the initial report saying all 3 were dead. Did the lone dog eat something funky? Juicy mystery. What's going on here? Suspicious vibes. No foul play, but still weird. Sheriff Mendoza is confident there's no murder here, no trauma, no forced entry, but it's suspicious enough for a full probe. Unlocked door, scattered pills, dead dog. Too bizarre to shrug off. What's the real story, Santa Fe? What is happening? Food poisoning. Potentially. An ex-FBI agent, former FBI agent by the name of Bill Daly, he dropped a zinger. He thinks food poisoning, no trauma, no gas, both dead, plus the dog, maybe a killer meal took him out, right? Toxicology reports, are pending, but that theory's actually got teeth. Imagine a lethal Last Supper. Talking about the death of Gene Hackman. friends kind of have started to talk a little bit. Gene was sort of a shadow of himself, homebound, off his bike, post-COVID, sort of reclusive, right? Betsy, though, perfect health, they said. So he's 95. She was 65. Did his heart give out, triggering her doom? I mean, a quiet life turned dark fast. Cell phone clues. So everybody who has a cell phone, your movements are being tracked wherever you go. Cops snagged 2 cell phones and a 2025 planner. The ex-FBI agent who's been talking daily says they'll track when those phones went dead, pinpointing about the moment when life stopped. Were they texting, calling, cooking? Technology is going to spill some of the tea here as well. So Hollywood has been mourning. The family has been clamming up. So what's next? Clint Eastwood sobbing, no finer actor than Gene. The family is tight-lipped. The nephew, Tim Hackman, won't bite on theories, says no speculation. Toxicology results could drop soon. Accident, overdose, or something wilder. This enigma's got legs, and we're going to continue to cover this story because I think it's fascinating, especially with the bumbling by the cops. What is this story all about? Nelson65 says, my gift of appreciation, Godfather. Yes, pineapple. You, Nelson, will live to see another day. And if you don't want to end up like all the other people in this stream, you'll get like Nelson65 and burnt to space toast girlfriend. Maybe you should go to our shop. Cross your custom across my palm a little. At 4libertyshop.com. You can get some very fine products, Founding Flavors coffee. We do business, we don't do drugs. That's a dirty business. We prefer Founding Flavors coffee over here. Yes, thank you very much. Speaking of Godfather, my D.O.G.E shirt is coming today. It was Barzini all along. Barzini. Yes, and that Jew, who was the Jewish guy that he had to kill? Was it in part 2 or was it in part 1? Who was the Jewish guy who was tried to have Michael killed? It was Barzini, and then there was the Jewish associate of his father. That was like another one. Like they always called him that Jew. I just remember him as the Jewish guy, but I can't remember his name. Barzini, though, good one, Luke Sacker, on the name. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show right now, it is almost over, but we still have a few minutes to go. I want to tell you guys, thank you for watching our new show, The Freedom Arcade. If you are a Rumble Premium subscriber to Rumble, then you guys, Hyman Roth, thank you, Luke Sacker. Lee Strasberg, yes, great actor and great acting teacher, by the way. But if you missed Freedom Arcade last night, it's the newest show, the 4th show on the For Liberty Network. This show is growing like, this network is growing like crazy, and the For Liberty shop is growing like crazy. If you didn't hear, we took over Judge Andrew Napolitano's merch collection. That's now part of the For Liberty shop. Luke Sacker, I've watched both Godfathers like 12 times. Yes, me too. And I also watched the behind the scenes and the fan theories. I need to read the book, Mario Puzo's book, because I just think that would be fun. But it's a monster, and I haven't read monster books like that in quite some time. The Wake Up America show is a 5-day-a-week live show, best enjoyed live, but you can listen to the audio version later. So if you guys are super fans of the show and you like to stay caught up, sometimes it's easier to just download it onto your mobile phone with iTunes or Spotify. So make sure that you are subscribed over there. And if you really love AP and you want to do something fun for us and it's totally free, you've got iTunes or the podcast app on your Apple phone. I know many of you are using an Apple phone. So why not just open up the Wake Up America show on iTunes, click follow, and then give us a 5-star review over on iTunes and maybe a written review. And I know that I'm speaking to a crowd and that maybe one person or two person may actually do that after the show today. But just remember that we are real living human beings over here, and that it does take a lot to It does take a lot to grow an enterprise like this, and every little bit helps. So if you wouldn't mind, just put another brick in the wall for us today. If you're going to download us over on iTunes, while you're there, click the 5 stars and write a written review and make it specific. Tell us what you like about the show. I know it is a lot to ask of people. I know you're busy, but please understand that little things like this matter. Little purchases at forlibertyshop.com matter. You buy a mug, buy a box of coffee, or our children's book, Calvin the Coolest President, maybe some Gulf of America merch. I think you guys, you're not going to be disappointed. Check out the 5-star reviews that we get on the site. It's a beautiful morning. Wake Up America show brought to you by viewers and listeners just like you. Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thirsty Thursday, but now it's a Royal Thirsty Thursday, so you're in for a treat. The king of all libertarians joins us again tomorrow, and we're going full medieval times. Just be ready. Forsooth, tomorrow shall be thine greatest hour. So don't miss it. It's 2 hours, though, the show. The king, the queens, the court jester, me, the King Libertarian, Camellia Peterson, the lovely ladies of liberty, Daniela Pensack. Tomorrow, don't miss it. Then Friday, of course, Freedom Family Friday. How much more could we be doing to earn your support, your love, your trust, your respect, your time, your like, your follow? We'll see you guys here tomorrow on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your founding flavors at apforlibertyshop.com.